So thank you very much. Very good questions. So Friday, you want more information on what is happening in Kano? Unfortunately, our work is not black and white. It takes time, right? So we're doing our very best with the teams in Kano. As things evolve, you'll be informed on where we are. This is basically what I have to say. The team is working very closely with the Kano State team. Every single day, they go out into a very complex, densely populated, but great historical city to find out what is going on, to take samples, to send them into the lab. I have to trust the work that they do, and you have to trust that the work they do, they're doing on your behalf. This is not easy work by any means. If you want to go to the field, we're happy to send you to the field to go and find more information out and feedback. But this is really where we are. I'll continue to try and support you and your colleagues with all the information that you need. Now, on my tweet on Saturday, one thing I'd like colleagues to understand, I asked for something called extraction kits. They're not the same thing as the test kits. So sometimes in life, you have to be honest with yourself. We have a supply chain of all the commodities, but there are supply chain challenges in things coming into the country now. It's not a surprise to anyone because of this is a consequence of the situation we're in and the global demand for the same things. So these are things that we had ordered and they were in process of coming in, but we suddenly ran out. So rather than shut down a network of 15 labs in the country, I put out that tweet. And while we got a lot of criticism, which I expected that we get, something beautiful happened, which always happens in Nigeria. People came back and solved that problem. People came in from that I had no idea where they were and brought those extraction kits. Some of them offered to give it to us for free. They had it in their warehouses. Yes, in Nigeria. So, you know, in every adversity, this country will continue to surprise you by its spirit, by its people, and by its ingenuity in terms of how to solve that problem. So yes, I took in all the criticism on social media in good faith because I solved the most important problem I had to solve on Saturday, to get our labs working again. Now, there was a question about the Roche equipment. What we have in the moment in the country as we speak is a capacity to test about 50,000. This is with the conventional RT-PCR and the new Roche equipment that we have launched today. So the challenge at the moment is all the other things that have to happen. The swabs to collect samples, the virus transport media, the people, and we're coordinating all of this. So with every new lab that we set up, we just set up a lab in Sokoto. It means we have to provide the lab in Sokoto with the logistics and everything they need to collect samples. And we're looking to do this in 36 plus 1 states. So in every new lab comes a new opening for challenges around logistics, collection, travel, transport when there are no flights going. So people have to actually go by road through all the multiple checks. So I just want to assure everyone, we are trying, but it's not easy. If anyone has easier solutions, please, we'll be happy to take them on board. There was a question about Akwa Ibom State. It's not up to me to get involved in who the state recruits or who it reassigns to its duties. The only thing I want to say is the state epidemiologist in Akwa Ibom, Aniakeme Uwa. It was a great colleague, did his work. He's been in that position since 2011. One of the great colleagues that we worked on the Ebola outbreak together. So I'm sure he's been given a new task that will bring out the best in him. So I'll let the government of Akwa Ibom to sort out and continue the internal reposting. Of course we've seen the 1-minute video out of Senegal. It's been sent to me about at least 500 times between when it emerged this morning. So our responsibility is to look into it. We know the company, it's a UK firm working with the lab in Senegal. We're in touch with them already through the Africa CDC, and we'll look into what the options are. The fact is that it's not available yet. They're looking for a delivery time, a time to fully develop in June, and then we'll start looking at the possibilities of expanding its use. They've agreed to a central distribution mechanism through the Africa CDC directly to countries so that they will manage a bulk purchasing arrangement. So we'll continue speaking to them and make sure that we have access. On a very interesting question on private labs, and we actually have a fantastic announcement to make. This weekend, we approved the inclusion of a firm called 54 Gene to start testing in the private sector in Lagos and Ogun State, and we're currently in discussions with them to move a part of the operations to Kano. But this hasn't been a simple process. They have worked with us for 4 weeks to develop their processes to optimize their biosafety arrangements. So the issue with biosafety is not something you can compromise on, because this is a virus. If you don't have the right biosafety environment, you end up with a situation where the laboratory scientists themselves become infected. And that's one situation we really do not want. So we are moving. There are firms. We have 2 labs now in the private sector, DNA labs in Kaduna, and 54 Gene that is now working in Lagos, Ogun, and by next weekend in Kano. So we've set up the process, and we hope that by doing this, we will continue growing our network of private labs across the country. Rachel, can you remind me of your question? Yes. Yeah, so like I said, we have the new Roche equipment that we're starting to work with today. The good thing about it, it eliminates the need for certain things like the extraction kits, so we can actually do a lot more work and do quickly. If we have all the samples in the lab, so if all the collection happens from the States, we can do up to 900 to 1,000 samples in a day. So really, there's a lot of capacity to test now. The challenge is to bring in the samples quickly and get the equipment working. And this really has been in collaboration with many partners that have enabled us to get to this stage. People in the UN family, the US government, and a lot of other partners with whom we're working. The Honorable Minister of State answered the question on Imo State. There are only 4 states at the moment that haven't reported a case in Nigeria. Cross River, Kogi, Nasarawa, and Yobe. We are looking at the numbers of samples collected from these states. We are not satisfied with the number of samples collected. So we need to test more. But to test more, we need to collect more. And that collection part is the responsibility of states and their public health teams. So we want to really encourage every state in Nigeria. You can't hide this. So eventually it will emerge. It's better we understand what is happening early than leave it till we start hearing stories of deaths. So we are really encouraging the public health teams in these states to push out. There are people that have pneumonia, acute respiratory infections in your states. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Please collect samples, send them to us. Let's test, let's know whether you have this thing circulating in your state and mount an appropriate response. If it's not there, but we cannot know if we don't test. Thank you. And just to say, sorry, Piers, very grateful to have members of my committee and the chairman of the Committee of Health join us for this press conference today. Welcome, sirs.